I feel like I've waited long enough. Let's reveal it. Let's get it going. This is Lockout. It may not look like much, but it's important. The magic really starts happening right here. You can see my hunger is already starting to decrease. That's probably not good. But yeah, there's this lectern over here. I'm going to go over and read it. Welcome to Lockout. Before you play, lock game mode to adventure, which I kindly listed the command. Set keep inventory to false. Again, kindly listed the command. Set render and sim distance to 5 chunks. Mine should already be set there. Watch my video on YouTube about how to play. That's weird. This video is going to be on YouTube, so we'll know how to play. Be in my Discord. I made the Discord. Rules in the dungeon. Don't intentionally break, grief, exploit, cheat, or anything else. Fair. Honor system. If you know you need the level 2 key to unlock level 2, don't throw anything else in the key drop. Fair. Don't use hitboxes, F5, FreeCam, Optifine, or any other add-ons. Sounds fair. And if you need to go back, this lectern will be here at any and all times. I'm going to go around and collect some berries, which may seem like a very basic thing to do, but is actually super important. So we're in what's called the home environment, or like it's effectively your base, and in here you're pretty safe from everything, at least for now. The only thing that can really hurt you inside your base is berry bushes and like fall damage. But yeah, right away, looking around, I can see that there is a suit of leather armor. I'm going to put that on. Now I look slightly more imposing, slightly more ready for whatever's coming my way. Press if you died inside Lockout. That's an important button that we'll need to use at some point. There's a crafting table here. But yeah, and then a barrel of clocks. Take 4 before each run. As you can see, I'll take 4. There are a ton of clocks in here, which is important. I'm also going to grab these berries, and then I'm going to go over to this shop. As you can see inside the shop, there are a lot of items. I'll get into them more later. The only one that we care about right now is this one. Wooden sword, free. So right now I have a wooden sword, some sweet berries, 4 clocks, and... no, wrong thing. Some leather armor. I'm not exactly the most prepared adventurer, but having food is important, and I have that. Having a weapon is important, and I have that. First thing we have to do is press this button, because that lets us into the dungeon. We walk through the doors, and boom, suddenly we're in. And immediately, I hear a creeper. So I'm going to... Oh my god. Never mind, chat. I am not going to do that. Luckily, these pressure plates reset the entirety of the dungeon, at least in theory. So I'm just going to go back in and get that stuff. Because it should all be here. Okay, it is all here. And then I'm going to try to find an area to regroup. I see a clock on the ground. I'm going to grab that. I always go to the... Stop. I always go to the this direction immediately. I'm just going to put all of these clocks in here. You'll notice that when I do, this switches from out of time to time remaining, which is important. I'll get into that more later. So if you look in my inventory right now, you can see there's a large variety of things. We've got some sweet berries, which obviously act as a food source, but then we also have golden carrots, which act as another, and they're pretty important because you can heal a lot from them. We have some clocks, we have some blocks of redstone, which I'll get into later. We have gold ingots, and then we have a level 2 key, which has some interesting text on it. Okay. I see a prismarine shard and a prismarine door. I wonder what happens if I go through. So if I put a shard there, it opens the door to what I'm going to tell you is level 2. I don't feel like making that jump, so I'm just going to not. So you'll notice there's a lot of loot being dropped in the dungeon. If you can make it out of the dungeon, you're probably going to have a lot of stuff. If you can't make it out of the dungeon, you're going to lose all that stuff. So it kind of, like, I guess, increases the benefit of trying to make it out alive. Jump up along all of these blocks, you get a Spore Blossom. And then you just have to deliver that back to the beginning. So there's really no good way to get back to the beginning other than to just, like, make a run for it, basically. Now, I can't even tell you how many times I've died near the beginning because I wasn't watching where I was going and a creeper attacked me. But this time, it appears like I might actually get out safe. And there you go. I've completed the first of my lockout runs. And then I can go into the shop, which is where all of the fun stuff happens. Emeralds, redstone blocks. So these are all things you can find inside the dungeon. We haven't found any golden apples yet. We haven't found any spectral arrows yet. But emeralds, redstone blocks. We haven't found any emeralds yet either. Redstone blocks, level 2 keys, golden carrots we have found. So you can buy them here if you need them for a dungeon run. There's also armor of different varieties. There's leather, there's gold, there's iron. There's shields, which is, I think, the first thing I'm going to buy. So I'm going to put 10 of my gold in there, and then press to put that on my offhand. And you'll notice with, we'll say this one, there's a spot in the center with a piece of paper that says replace this with your first payment. So if I were getting, I don't know, an iron chest plate, I'd put this 15 gold in there. Actually, do I want to do that? I kind of do, honestly. No, we're not going to. But I would put the 15 gold in there, and then just there's a reset spawn in dungeon. This just drops you into the void. Please have all of your equipment and stuff not on when you do this. It does reset the spawns in the dungeon. It's a cool thing to do if there are like creepers at the entrance and you're afraid of them. But yeah, not exactly great. If you drop in while you have stuff on you, you're not getting it back. So there are a bunch of potions on this wall here. I'll just give you a second to look at all of them. Netherite hoe, which is interesting. This is more for the advancement than anything, but hint hint, there will be a secret coming up in future seasons about netherite hoes. Iron sword, stone sword, wooden sword. I am going to grab a stone sword. I believe they were 7, yes. So I'm going to grab a stone sword and replace that with this. So yeah, I like that. And then over here, there are just a bunch of interesting things. There's bows and arrows. There are goat horns, dragon heads, and then cat and wolf spawn eggs. All of these are pretty expensive. I'm not going to lie. Although I could actually buy the goat horn. What I'm going to do here is place 3 blocks of redstone, and then we can go into our inventory and check out our loot and our inventory situation. To have your run count as a completion, you need to put those 3 redstone blocks in the chest. So I have 1 completion on this stream because I put the 3 redstone blocks in the chest. And that just means, hey, I didn't just like randomly speed run the game. I actually waited and tried. I always put the level 2 key in, even though level 2 doesn't actually exist yet. You need those redstone blocks, which is why when you have the opportunity to get them, it's important that you do so. Because the more completions you get, the higher on the rankings you'll be. And there will be rankings in my Discord server. Rankings are important because at the end of early access, which is the phase that we're in right now, the person who is top, and I might do top 3, but I'm thinking right now about doing top 1. Oh, this was not smart pause. This was not smart pause. Okay, that's great. The person who basically like places first in each ranking gets a special reward. And there will be rankings for season 1. There will be rankings for season 2. There will be like all sorts of stuff. But if you want to get good rankings and like be a part of them, because honestly, that's kind of the most fun way to play this game is if you're like competing against other players. Because this is a single player game, but other players are playing it too. And if you're competing with somebody else to see who can like get through the dungeon faster, you're gonna like it's gonna feel good to beat them and to have that in like an official server. So just to recap points, a spore blossom gets you out of the dungeon. That's what unlocks this door. But to get an actual completion, you need to put 3 blocks of redstone in there. And that's important because there will be a stat called most completions. You can, if you die in the dungeon, you can go back in and get your stuff. You just might have to contend with some mobs for it. Okay. And as you can see, that door will kill you. But I got through. and I can get my second completed run in of the stream. I will say a lot of the strategy with this game, at least early on, is kind of just go to the spots where there's usually loot, don't die. That's kind of it, honestly. Like, stay alive is kind of the general strategy. Once you get further in and you start buying potions and having like armor and stuff, then it kind of gets to like a more okay, so this is kind of important that you like have a strategy. You're going for completions so that you're able to advance further in the dungeon. Because each level gets progressively more difficult. Each level takes longer. And yeah, it's you want to be able to go for as long as possible. And that's basically the premise of it. Early access for select people, most of them are streamers or content creators, will release on September 16th. That's this Saturday. That will also be the season 1 of this map. That will end sometime between late October and early November, which is also the time when season 2 is going to be released. Season 2 won't just have what we explored, it'll also have the entirety of level 2 added to it. So, yeah. And by the time the general public gets access to it, there will be 2 levels instead of 1, which is important. And also I just want to say this version is not final. I will add stuff, I will change stuff.